I am Brian.
I am Julius.
This is the Ascendant Project. The mission of the Ascendant Project is to explore the political positions in individuals. A contributor writes a 750-word article and then gets interviewed.
The purpose of the interview is to bring out other views and hopefully life experiences that sent the author down the path to the position expressed.
Although some debate will undoubtedly occur, this is not intended to be a forum for debate, but rather a project to better explore the individual and the American experience as a whole.
All opinions and views expressed, written or verbal, are solely the ownership of the one who expressed them. The Ascendant Project does not hold or endorse any views or opinions.
In celebration of our nation's 249th birthday, Julius and I will be reading and discussing our nation's founding document, the Declaration of Independence. Clocking in at around an hour 45 minutes, this is a long episode. The Declaration runs over 1,300 words, and our normal essay is about half that. As a result, there is much to talk about. In our discussions, we attempted to interweave current events and history with the document. The fact-checking on our conversation shows that my grasp of the details of history are not as crisp as I thought. My last history class was 3 decades ago, so please forgive me. In our defense, despite being wrong on the details, we were arguably right on the nose for the concepts. Corrections are in the show notes. Nonetheless, please enjoy this reading, enjoy the 4th, celebrate with a veteran, and spend time with your family and friends. Finally, please be safe. Have a great 4th of July, everyone. Happy 4th of July, everyone.
Happy 4th, Independence Day. Today we celebrate our Independence Day.
Yes, and not from the aliens, from Bill Pullman.
Right.
But our independence from England.
Who is Bill Pullman, just as a short aside, reprising his role in the sequel to
Independence Day?
No.
Oh, Spaceballs.
Spaceballs.
Yes. Yes. Everybody's so happy about the upcoming Spaceballs movie that is probably yet to be filmed.
Right.
And hopefully,
and could fall apart and end up never being.
Mel Brooks
right.
can live through that because he's 92.
Yeah.
So.
Mel
But
Brooks.
he seems to be pretty spry still. So.
Yeah. The man who defined an era.
Yeah. So for this July 4th, we decided to do something different and scrap our normal format. Or, yeah, I guess we're scrapping it. And instead of somebody writing an essay and then we interview it for an hour, we're going to Thomas Jefferson's essay.
Yep.
With the Declaration of Independence.
Sadly, we don't have a reenactor.
No, we do not. However, we do have us, and we could. Do you do impressions, Julius?
No.
Okay. I do bad ones, so I'm not going to disgrace our country by trying to do a Thomas Jefferson impression, which I have no idea how he sounds like. But yeah. Nonetheless, 407 years ago. Oh, sorry, wrong
different
one.
Different guy.
One. We the People?
We the People.
No,
no.
Wrong one. That's the Constitution.
Yep.
Which, by the way, my favorite pizza place in downtown DC around Capitol Hill. We the Pizza. We the Pizza makes good pizza.
Shout out to We the Pizza.
Shout out to We the Pizza.
If you want to sponsor the Ascendant Project.
Yes, We the Pizza. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and read the Declaration of Independence. And I'm not sure how well this is going to work. We might abandon this halfway through. But when we come to a point where we want to discuss what was just read, we're going to go ahead and ding the triangle.
Yep.
And kind of break it. And then we can talk about it. So this might be a really long episode because the Declaration of Independence comes in at what, 1,700 words?
1,776?
Wait, let me see. Remember, that's probably counting all the signatures and stuff too. So
no, I copied and pasted it, just the text. Oh no, I'm sorry. So 1,338 words.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
this thing, so first criticism, Thomas Jefferson needed to make it longer.
Yeah. Ironically longer to be 1,776 words. Did people really know at that point that the year 1776 would, effectively become a meme 250 years later? No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
Yeah.
But, I mean, a little background on the document. I mean, even though it's taught early on about Lexington and Concord, I feel like a large part of America, when we're learning this history, kind of forgets that we are at war already for 2 years at this point, because Lexington and Concord was 1774. So there's been conflict going on. And I remember back when I worked at Borders, I was doing night stalking, and we would listen to books on tape, and one of the books on tape that we listened to was John Adams by David McCullough, which was a great listen. I haven't watched the HBO series based on it, but
I have seen the HBO series.
Was it good?
It was good, but I'm gonna just say it probably did not do the book justice. Okay. I think the series felt a little bit truncated. Yeah. Well, it was great on CD. Absolutely great on CD. Because that's when I worked at Borders, was when there were CDs. Yeah. Well, that's when Borders was around, come to think of it. But right. Nonetheless, so we listened to it, and one of the things that was discussed in the book was, and that John Adams deliberated with Jefferson and everybody else, was whether or not they were ahead of the people in doing this, or if the people were ahead of them when it came to declaring their independence from England. We were at the No Kings rally, and I feel that's kind of a sort of a debate, because I feel like there's a disconnect between the leaders in the Democratic Party and the people who attended the protests. Yeah. And I feel like the leadership right now is like behind the people, and it's the people that are leading right now. Right. So. Yeah, totally agree. Anyway, nonetheless, should I start off, or do you want to start off? Up to you. You start. Okay. In Congress, July 4th, 1776, the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America. And I'm going to go ahead right off the top and hit it with that sentence. Let me hit that a little harder. Yeah. Up until this point, once again, we're always taught that the colonies succeeded from England. Yeah. With this document, no, we are states. I had you at hello. Okay. So that's one thing that jumped off of me right in the first clause, before we even get to the most famous one in the course of human events. Right. But I think there's a distinction, though, in that before we were the United States, many people, like especially before the Civil War, would say these United States. As though, like, the states they were the states united, essentially, not. Which is interesting, because we were underneath the Articles of Confederation from 1776, or whenever they were passed. I'm not even sure when the Articles of Confederation were actually passed. To 1789, when the Constitution was ratified. So it's at this point we're completely Confederation. The Constitution was founded on federalism. And so even though people still said the United States are, as opposed to the United States is, until after the Civil War, you already had the coming together. And maybe, maybe another aspect of the Civil War, 7 years later. Yeah. Or actually it was probably 5 at that point, because that was set in 1863 and the war began in 61. Right. Nonetheless, part of the big debate is whether or not we want to be together. Right. And once again, I feel like that debate is still today with us. Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's not a point of violence or anything like that right now, but I mean, we're so segregated in terms of our echo chambers, in terms of our media, rural versus urban, especially. I think I think it kind of remains to be seen. I mean, obviously, the United States has been around for almost 250 years. Yeah. Yeah, it has a few pubes showing now. Right. Right. But
Yeah, this is definitely an adult-oriented podcast. All right, so, but, we've had this long period of, we'll say relative peace nationally. There's this sense of national unity that's been strong and possibly growing stronger since World War II, really.
Yeah.
Like, there was a very strong sense of national unity.
All right.
But is that our, natural state, so to speak? Or is that period kind of an anomaly? I think we're always going to be asking the question, are we individual states or are we one nation composed of states?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember globes.
I remember globes too.
And just but some of the political globes had like each state like a colored the same way as you would another nation.
Yeah. Right.
And, in other globes, just have the United States as the same color.
Yeah.
So anyway,
do you want to pick up or you want me to pick up?
Yeah, I should probably pick up.
Okay.
Oh gosh. See, here's the thing. This is such a long document. I want to like comment on everything. And I'm not sure I really want to comment on anything because it's going to be like a 3-hour episode.
Yeah. Well, I think we're probably going to get like a third of the way through.
I'll be damned if I'm going to sound edit 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I mean, that's like, that could be upwards of 60 hours worth of work.
Yep.
All right. When in the course of human events, which is a great thing to work into conversation, especially when something unfortunate or funny happens and you're telling a story.
Yeah.
You could preface the funny thing with, when in the course of human events, this happened. But anyway, go on. So the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America.
Oh, no, you
what? I went back. I went back to the beginning.
Oh, okay.
So the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America, when in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another and assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them. A decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. You can go ahead.
All right.
You get the good one.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Ding.
Ding. So there's a lot in that.
Oh yeah,
that sentence.
Yeah, it's a very deep, heavy statement.
Yes, and it's a great ideal statement, and it really shows how flawed we are.
Mm-hmm.
Because to a certain extent, what was, just like the Civil War, fighting for freedom. What freedom are you fighting for? I'm talking about slavery here. It's like you're going to talk about all men are created equal, but a lot of these founding fathers still held slaves.
Right.
So it's hard. And the reason why I say it's hard, because I understand how hard it is for you to stand up for these ideals for the things that are around you. It's a lot easier to talk about equality when you're fighting against somebody an ocean away.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So there's already some hypocrisy with this, but I love the idealism. I believe Martin Luther King kind of referred to this passage as a promissory note that we are all.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I think there were a lot of the founding fathers were slave holders.
Yes.
Some of them, I think, and I don't know if this is like revisionist history of sorts, but I think some of them were just kind of like indoctrinated into that practice.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, I think their feeling, at least, possibly, was that they treat their slaves well, I mean, I don't know.
I
Certainly,
have no idea.
Thomas Jefferson treated at least one slave well.
But do we really know? I mean, he had a position of
we don't.
power over her.
Right.
So how consensual it really was his relationship with Sally Fields.
Right.
So what would have happened if she said no?
Right. Fair enough.
But so life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, that is life, liberty, and pursuit of property, John Locke.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
So happiness equals property, which kind of shows capitalism sitting right there.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, and it's interesting that they took that out, right? Because it does kind of show a certain economic philosophy of sorts. I am happy that they took it out. I mean, I think economically, even though we all told that this is a capitalist society and it's founded on capitalism, but there are socialist elements, you could say, that have been adopted over time. So I think it's nice that there's that.
Also, it just occurred to me that, pursuit of property, since we were just talking about how many founding fathers were slave owners.
Right.
That might have been a way to not talk about slavery.
Right.
But acknowledge everybody has the right to make their life better.
Right.
And have work for a better life, pursuit of happiness.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay. Go on.
All right. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed.
There you go. Yeah, this is going to take forever.
Yeah, it is. Now, I mean, and this is one of, I think, the rare instances of an actual, very specific reference to a political philosophy, right? Consent of the governed. I don't know that we're certainly not talking about a monarchy in that sense.
Who were they drawing from? I mean, life, liberty, and pursuit of property was drawn. Happiness was drawn from John Locke. Where was the powers from the consent of the governor? I know it's incomplete. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Because I know that's complete in contrast to the concept of monarchy, where power over people is bestowed upon you from God, which is straight. Yeah. Which, church and state.
Right.
As one.
Right.
But
I feel like there's so many instances throughout the Declaration and in the Constitution where it's kind of left deliberately vague.
Yeah.
And, I think we can all read the Bill of Rights and take a certain meaning to it, but that doesn't necessarily translate to any actual, it's ultimately up to the judiciary really to interpret those.
Right.
And apply limits or not in some cases. So I feel like that ambiguity is really part of the struggle, and it's part of what gives the Declaration and the Constitution so much longevity. Because, and I understand the originalists or textualists or whatever will argue with me on this, but it can really be adapted to the period in which it's being interpreted.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Continuing on. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it.
All right. So this is an interesting one straight up, because you talk to any gun-owning libertarian, they love this passage. Yet, we win our independence. We're underneath the Articles of Confederation, and there's a little thing called the Whiskey Rebellion.
Yeah.
That George Washington has to go and put down. Right. So just because you're armed, even in the early days, and you have a nice group of people, does not mean you can succeed. You do not have the right to succeed, especially not without a freaking fight to do it. And the Civil War was this too. I mean, do people really believe that the South was right to succeed?
so they can defend their agricultural economy that has slavery as its backbone of labor. It's really interesting with that, and that's total aside. But the freedom to oppress. I'm fighting for my freedom to oppress. I don't know. I mean, I feel that passage is a very dangerous passage, and it fits in the Declaration of Independence. It's very important for it to be in a Declaration of Independence, but at the same point in time, I mean, I feel that you need to do everything you can, and that should always be the last resort.
Well,
not the first.
I feel like as I read this over and over while you're talking, so that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. So alter or abolish. It does not say secede. It does not say, take up arms against, right? It is the right of the people to, and I think this is deliberate here, the order to alter. So you first try to alter the government, and then if that fails, to abolish it.
Actually, you know what? I need to apologize to Thomas Jefferson because I totally interrupted him mid-sentence. We should probably finish the sentence.
Yeah. Okay.
To give it more context.
Yeah. All right. Here, yeah. I'll start from the beginning of that sentence again. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness.
Yeah. So the question then I should ask is, every 2 years we elect a new House of Representatives, and every 4 years, we elect an entirely new House of Representatives. We elect a third of the Senate, and every 4 years we change the president. We have an election for the presidency. Does that mean we are creating a new government constantly? Because I think that's what that actually means. So we are constantly overthrowing, and the government is changing for people.
Yeah. I could go with you on that. I mean,
so that way you can have a peaceful revolution without, having a coup d'etat.
Yeah.
You could have the Republican Revolution of 1994, with their, it slips me with that document, the contract with America. That's right. Yeah. And come into office with an agenda and have a nice peaceful revolution that way. You don't necessarily have to take up arms. There's a process here to overthrow and change the government, with the government being stable.
So obviously we're kind of like reading this, with the context of
the Constitution,
the present day.
Yeah.
So
we're 24 minutes in and we're like only through like a paragraph and a half.
Yeah. So do you feel like if we're reading and interpreting this that way to mean, that the constant change is what is meant here,
mm-hmm.
is, does the current, MAGA political movement, does that follow this? I mean, it would seem to, just on the text of it. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
All right, I'll continue. Should I?
Do you want me to pick up again, or do you want to go on?
I'll go one more sentence.
Okay.
I'm at prudence. Prudence, indeed, will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable, than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. All right, I feel like there's a bit of a tongue twister.
Yeah, that kind of is a tongue twister, but that's an interesting premise, though.
Yeah.
We are more disposed to suffer than, like, if I take out the while evils are sufferable, so that mankind are more disposed to suffer than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed.
That is so freaking true. I mean, there's a poem, I forget who it's by, where the poem basically says that the victors write the history.
Yeah. To the victors go the spoils.
The losers write the songs.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
You know? And, I mean, suffering makes for great art. Whether it be a song, whether it be whatever.
Yeah.
The arts and music and stuff like that evoke emotion.
Yeah.
And we all have known people who've been in abusive relationships and just will not leave, for even if their safety's at stake. Because it's easier to suffer than to change, because it's what you know.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go pick up.
Yeah, go ahead.
But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design. What freaking vocabulary! This is great. To reduce them under absolute despotism. It is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Such has been the patient sufferance of these colonies, and such now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. And here we start diving in. Yeah.
I think we always often kind of think of the Declaration of Independence kind of being written for Americans, kind of like as almost as a rallying cry of sorts. But it says, "Let facts be submitted to a candid world." They're really writing, and if it's not already clear, I am not a historian. I'm just going off of my limited knowledge.
Well, that clause might be an admission that they know that how powerful Great Britain is, and they need help.
Yeah,
because and to a large extent, people don't understand this. This was kind of a world war. It wasn't just about us. Britain was at war with Russia during this time. And Britain and France were always going at it.
Right.
We had German troops, Hessians, on our shores. So if you have Britain, you got Russia, you got Germans, you got France, and you have us Americans. Plus, Native Americans would be also employed in the Revolutionary War. Both Brits and Americans employed tribes.
Right.
And, so you have a lot of different countries involved in this. So this was actually a pretty big flashpoint.
Yeah.
Just like the 7 Years' War, the French and Indian War was also pretty worldwide as well. That was only 20 years ahead. But I'm behind. So yeah, to prove this, let facts be submitted to a candid world. That line might be showing how this document might be used as a tool for diplomatic recognition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to some extent, I feel like it's part of what makes the American Revolution so much different from other secessions from Great Britain. Because I have heard that people in Great Britain are kind of taught about the American Revolution the same way that they're taught about colonies in India seceding, or rebelling against the crown.
Yeah.
Or colonies in any number of other places.
Yeah.
Like they're like, oh, it's just another rebellion and secession.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it carries much more significance for us being Americans.
All right. So now we get into the grievances.
The grievances.
This is definitely the grievances.
You want to just go back and forth?
Sure. Let's go back and forth. He has refused his assent to laws, the most wholesome and necessary for the public good.
He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance, unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained. And when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend to them.
He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable, wow, that's a word that's never used anymore, inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. Is that weaponization of the government?
I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that's almost like the very definition.
Yeah.
You know, using the wheels of government to dismantle government, essentially. Yeah. You people want these things. I will give you those things as long as you give up any representation in the legislature.
I know this is so trivial in comparison, but for some reason, shutting down a bridge in New Jersey into New York because they voted the wrong way, like putting a construction zone on there to cause a traffic jam to punish that district.
Yeah.
Somewhat comes to mind. I mean, I know it's a lot more petty and it's nowhere near on the scale of what this was written about, but still, yeah, nonetheless.
I mean, to be honest, though, I really have to kind of question that. I'm legitimately questioning this. Like, we're going to read all of these grievances, and certainly there are grievances even in the modern day.
Mm-hmm.
But has the pace of the world changed so much? Like, these grievances were over years.
Yeah.
Right? But
yeah. Basically from the French and Indian War to 1776.
Right. But the pace of the world feels so much faster now, and the accumulation of grievances. You feel like
we don't remember the grievance from last week,
right?
Because you're worried about something else.
Here
now.
we are. Yeah. So, all right. So, wait, you had just read
up to
formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records.
Actually, hang on a second. I got a formidable to tyrants only. Would a parallel for today be similar to what we were discussing on an earlier podcast, where I think it was a Birth of Bill, to where the laws are only enacted for the few and not for the people?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Like, the laws are passed for the few, in the interest of the few, and not for the people. That's why things are being done by executive order, because the executive orders, really help a few, but they don't really help the people. They go after scapegoats or whatnot, but the accessibility of government, formidable to tyrants only. So like oligarchs and crap like that.
Yeah. Well, I think what this is really talking about is that I think what this is talking about is that the tyrants find the legislature formidable to them.
Okay.
That's the only.
Okay, so I'm misreading that whole thing then.
Right, and they lack an understanding of the right when they say a right inestimable to them. I think what they're talking about is they consider this a simple thing to withdraw.
Yeah, he has
your right to representation.
Yeah, your right to representation.
Because
yes, they don't feel represented by what's going on.
Right.
Got it. Okay, now I understand it.
All right. You want me to start from the beginning?
Yeah, go ahead and start. He has called together.
Yeah. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of their public records, for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures.
He has dissolved the representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people.
He has refused for a long time.
What? No ding on manly firmness?
Nope.
Okay, go on.
I don't really feel a need to discuss manly firmness. He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers, incapable of annihilation, have returned to the people at large for their exercise. The state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within.
All right. Yeah, I need time to digest that one.
Yeah.
He has refused for a long time, after such dissolutions, to cause others to be elected.
So he dissolves these local legislatures.
Yes.
And refuses to allow new legislatures to be formed, new people to be elected. But they also say, whereby the legislative powers, and then they have a dependent clause here, incapable of annihilation.
So
to say that these legislatures are going to form no matter what. People meet, people converse, leaders take the lead. There's really no way to prevent
the county and state governments were organic.
Right. From forming, from trying to solve problems for the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. And people at large for their exercise, the state remaining meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within.
Yeah.
So without state legislatures, there can't be government. And so at that point, you're exposed to Spain in the south, France in the north, or west. You're exposed to revolution from within as well.
Yeah.
Because if you're constantly taking away the legislatures and you're constantly taking away the government, you're allowing the position of anarchy, and anarchies don't last. So, okay, got it. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws for naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the conditions of the new appropriations of lands. I gotta digest that one. I was reading the words and missing the meaning, so I gotta digest this one too.
So, and this one I think has wide applicability, but I'll discuss it in the context of today.
Yeah, the purpose of obstructing the laws of naturalization
of foreigners. I mean, for our entire history, immigration has been key to the growth and long-term survival of this country.
Yes.
I think this is essentially what this is saying. It's unfortunate that we couldn't, looking back on this, it's unfortunate, I think, that we weren't more inclusive of the people that were already here.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Yeah, because the conditions of appropriations of new lands is like not even acknowledging Native Americans that are already here.
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But for many years, many of my 40 plus years as a citizen of this country from birth, I don't know why I feel like I have to qualify that, but whatever. We've been
2 score.
Right. Yep. But we've been arguing over what are we going to do with all of these immigrants, right? Going back to 1981, as far as I can remember, we've always been debating, we have such a huge influx of people. How do we control this population of newcomers and maintain our, national identity of sorts? I mean, that's not really what's being called out here. But, there was, I think it was Reagan offered amnesty.
Yes.
And then after that, we still had the problem. Clinton didn't really do much to help it. Bush tried. I mean, I give credit at least to the attempt.
W.
Yeah, W. But then ultimately, couldn't get anything done because members of his own party said it was amnesty. And, I honestly think that's kind of where the rhetoric and the kind of like doublespeak starts to become most prominent was around that time, because one person's pathway to citizenship is another person's amnesty.
Yeah.
And now here we are with,
same argument.
Right. Well, really, I feel like the policy of the current administration is to just say, well, we're never going to come to an agreement. Let's just get all of them out of here.
Oh, yeah, completely. 100%.
Yeah.
Even the people who are here legally.
Right.
Which, I just want people to come here legally. Yeah, and then you take away their status and deport them.
Right.
It's a complete and sincere argument.
Right.
Complete and sincere argument. All right, so...
All right.
It's your turn to think.
Yep. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to laws for establishing judiciary powers.
Ignoring the courts?
Yep. Ignoring the courts.
All right.
Well, and I guess in this case, it's really just like refusing to even establish courts.
Yeah. As is evidence, I think, by the next sentence. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount and payment of their salaries.
I'll ding on that one. So,
yeah, no independence of the judiciary.
Yeah. Well,
no checks and balances.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'll just as a short aside, this kind of, there is a kind of growing movement to limit the term for judges, even on the Supreme Court, to say like no more
I'd actually be fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it should be a long time.
Even just 30 years, even that's a
Right.
heck of a long time.
Yeah.
You have the House of Representatives that changes out every 2 years. So the will of the people, which public opinion can sway huge and big amounts of time. I mean, just take a look at W. 9/11 hits. He winds up hitting 90% of approval rating, and he leaves office with a 27% of approval rating.
Mm-hmm.
So public opinion can sway huge in a short amount of time. And the Senate their terms are 6 years. The president's 4 years. So the judiciary has always been, the lifetime terms moderates the swings.
Right.
The reason for the long terms is to help keep a conscience as opposed to hysteria amongst government.
Yeah.
So I'd be fine like bringing them back to 30 years even, maybe 20. But
yeah, I mean, I
still would want a long term for a judge, though.
Oh, sure. The mathematician in me is like trying to find, okay, so like 18 years would be kind of like a minimum for me.
Well, here's a great question. At what point actually, okay, so graduate from high school at 18. If you do 4 years and 4 years, you're 22 when you graduate from college.
Yeah.
And that's your 4-year degree. Then you have to go to law school. So that's what, another 2 years?
Yeah, another 2.
Okay, so you're 24. So you're like junior partner. You're not going to be judged coming out of law school.
No.
So you're going to be like a junior partner for probably like another 5. Maybe one day with some hope or whatnot, maybe you'll make senior partner at like 45. What was the lifespan during this time?
Yeah.
I mean, because a life term.
Life term at that point could have only been like another 6 to 12 years.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah.
20 years max.
Yeah. Although I think the average lifespan of a judge is probably longer than...
Yeah. But for here, I mean, most people in the 1700s, you either died before 40 or you lived to be like 90.
Yeah.
But there wasn't too many people in between.
Right.
So 20 years would be a long time. So if you wind up...
Yeah. I think for me, it's like either 18 or 24.
Yeah.
Or maybe
18 or 24?
Maybe 30. But 30 would be a little bit long.
30 would be a little bit long.
And the reason I say the Senate
Kennedy
rotates... Kennedy and Clinton?
Kennedy to Clinton, that's 30 years.
Ooh, yeah.
Of course, now Clinton to us is 30 years as well.
Right, yeah.
And do you want to hear what really sucks?
What's that?
I think we are now closer to 2050 than we are to 9/11.
Yes, we are. Are we?
I think so. Because that happened like
almost 2002. September 11th, 2001.
Yeah, 2001.
So we'll go with 2002 to round it.
Okay, sure. So there's 23 years ago. So another 23 years would be 48.
So close.
So close. Don't start a math podcast, Brian.
I'll try not to, not especially with somebody who was a math major on the other microphone.
No, but I think
you're a math magician.
A math magician, street math magician. Yeah, no, I think
square your root.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we've beaten that horse to death.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The word that Trump refused to say this week. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance.
How are you feeling about manly firmness now?
Manly firmness and tossed salad? Oh, man.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so erected new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people.
Now, this is interesting, though, in the, okay. Well,
yeah.
I'll pause for a moment. Because has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers. And, we haven't really seen that kind of, this is really talking about, the growth of government, of the bureaucracy, of the executive and police powers.
I think it leads into the next sentence, actually.
Yeah, okay. All right.
So, the next sentence is, he has kept us in times of peace, standing armies without consent of our legislatures.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that happened during the French and Indian War was private citizens had to quarter the British Army.
Right.
So, you want to talk about Big Brother. How about having a government official in your house?
Yeah, right.
I know governments in our, corporations and probably government is in our phones. But, this is...
Well, certainly if you get...
this is so visible and in your face.
Yeah.
Swarms of officers to harass our people. I could see that being used in conjunction with the clause that we already talked about dealing with immigration. Having that being with today.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, that I could kind of see that. It's different. It's like we had discussed earlier before we were on the podcast. It's different when it happens to your neighbor than it happens to an abstract person.
Right.
It's no longer a political theory and you see it happening.
Yeah.
That's when shit gets real.
Yeah.
So.
My turn?
Your turn.
He is affected to render the military independent of and superior to the civil power.
He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and acknowledged by our laws, giving his assent. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts and pretended legislation.
For quartering large bodies of troops among us.
For protecting them by a mock trial from punishment from any murders which they would commit on the inhabitants of these states. I find that interesting.
Okay. In what way?
The Iraq War.
Uh-huh.
One of the things that...
Which one?
The second.
Okay.
One of the things why we couldn't come to a new status of forces agreement was that we did not want our troops or contractors prosecuted by Iraqi government. we wanted immunity while we were there fighting the war.
Yeah.
So I just find that interesting now, thinking of that and thinking of the Iraq War in that fashion.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I have to wonder where the line was for our founders. Was there a line they were willing to accept?
Yeah.
And I feel like the difference without, maybe this is a difference without or distinction without a difference. But in Iraq, we were an occupier, right?
Yes.
There was definite nation building happening.
Yes.
I don't know that excuses the idea, but obviously, the Britain in this case was not really an occupier per se, not in the same sense that we think of, the occupation of Iraq.
Well, to a certain extent, though, they were, because the troops never really left after the French and Indian War.
Right.
They wanted to stay there like we're still in NATO, like our troops are still in Europe. I mean, it's different. We're there because of NATO.
Right.
So, I mean, if they want us to leave, we can leave. I mean, we respect them for the most part, or at least, yeah, I think that's what would occur most likely. Maybe I'm an idealistic and naive about that, where if Germany told us to leave, would we leave? But I think we would. Nonetheless, I was going somewhere with that, and I totally lost my train of thought.
Yeah, there's a lot to think about.
But once again, we're talking about the quartering of troops, so which is huge. I mean, that would show up as one of in the Bill of Rights that we will never quarter troops amongst the people.
Article 3, right?
Might be.
Yeah. Or not article. I meant the Third Amendment.
Yeah. No word on the diming or the nickeling of troops.
Right. The diming or the nickeling of troops? What are you talking about?
Well, or the pennying of troops. Quartering?
Oh my God. That went way over my head.
No, it was way under your intellect.
Yeah. Oh my God. Oh, jeez. Is it my turn? I don't remember.
It doesn't matter at this point.
No,
yeah,
right.
for quarter. Yeah. I did the mock trial.
Yeah. Okay. For cutting off our trade with all parts of the world.
Interesting. For imposing taxes without our consent.
For depriving us, in many cases, of the benefits of trial by jury.
For transporting us beyond seas. To be tried for pretended offenses.
I'm waiting for it.
All right. So what's currently going on right now is ICE will arrest somebody in Maryland and transport them down to Louisiana. So that way it inhibits their access to representation should they get a hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I wasn't expecting to be reading this with current administration always in mind with almost every paragraph here, but
certainly it's hard to draw.
When it comes to the immigration part of it,
yeah,
and how it's being run, I don't know.
I mean,
my bias might be showing, but once again, if we had a MAGA person on this podcast, I'm sure he'd be looking at it another way.
If I may make a probably terrible attempt at speaking for that side, it's the us in this sentence is really talking about the residents, the citizens, and if I'm MAGA, I assume I would interpret this not to include immigrants. People who are here illegally, especially those who are here and commit crimes, who are not citizens or permanent residents. So the people, in the modern day, the people that are being transported beyond seas to be tried for pretend offenses,
Yeah, and the thing that I would remind MAGA of, though, is that the Constitution says people. It does not say citizens have the right to a hearing. It says people do.
It's a little bit selective where it says people and citizens.
Okay.
Because, I mean, there are places where it says citizens, but certainly in
We'll probably have to do this again with the
Amendment.
Constitution, like over a few different
Oh, sure, yeah.
podcasts.
The Fifth Amendment, I think, does say people are entitled to due process. And
Yeah.
But, regardless.
Yep.
All right. Now it's you.
Now it's me. For abolishing the free system of English laws in a neighboring province, establishing therein an arbitrary government, and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for introducing the same absolute rule into these colonies.
Are they talking about Canada here?
I don't know.
Yeah, we really
This
should.
is-
We need
this
an
is,
historian here. That's
this
what we
is
need.
like there are so many things about lost history. Like,
Yeah.
for instance, I think it was. I mean, I know that Pennsylvania and Maryland went to war before the Revolution.
Right.
Nobody remembers this anymore.
Nope.
It was a border dispute.
We're all friends now.
Yeah, it was a border dispute. Maryland claimed up to Philadelphia, and Pennsylvania claimed all the way on down to like Gaithersburg.
Right. Yeah.
So and it came to blows.
Yeah.
It came to blows, and nobody knows about this anymore. It's like lost to history.
Yeah.
And yeah. I mean, and I feel like this is something that also is lost to history. It might be Canada. They might be referring to Canada.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, I have to look that up. We got
Right.
I'll stick it in the show notes at the end or whatnot.
Yeah.
But
for taking away our charters, abolishing our most valuable laws, and altering fundamentally the forms of our governments.
for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. I guess that's taxation. That's no representation or false representation.
Right. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us.
He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, destroyed the lives of our people. He raped the horses and rode off on the women.
What?
Three Amigos.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, so I do. So I'm reminded of the third person that you interviewed for the No Kings protest, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And her one-word value was responsibility.
Yes.
Right? And I feel like there's a very clear indication here that, it says, by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. They're trying to assert governance over these people, but while at the same time trying to abdicate his responsibility to those people.
Yes.
Like, you're subject to my laws, but outside of my protection. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, go on.
I think you're the next.
Am I?
Yeah.
Right.
He has abdicated, right? Didn't I just read that? I don't know.
Yeah, because I wrote he has plundered our seas. Yeah, I mean that's what I read. Yep. So
you did read that. Okay,
yep,
okay.
Yep.
He is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, dissolution, and tyranny, already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous ages, and totally unworthy the head of a civilized nation.
He has constrained our fellow citizens, taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become the executioner of their friends and brethren, or to fall themselves by their hands. Interesting how this is a theme with freaking Britain.
Okay.
This would come up again. It was one of the causes of the War of 1812. They were taking our sailors and pressing them into the British Navy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's what jerks.
Yeah.
What jerks.
Those guys.
I mean, it's
all right. They're such assholes.
No wonder we love Pirates of the Caribbean so much.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
The only thing the British Navy's good for is bringing out the heroes.
Yeah. the unlikeliest of heroes.
The unlikeliest of heroes, yes.
All right. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us, and has endeavored to bring out the inhabitants of our frontiers, the merciless Indian savages, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions.
A little bit of racism there, eh?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, the merciless Indian savages. Yeah, that's
You know,
there's no getting around it. I mean, unless savage meant something totally different in 1776 than I think of it today.
You know, I didn't really think so. How was this written exactly? Was it just Thomas Jefferson? Just like
it was mostly Thomas Jefferson. I think he did the first draft of it, and then they edited it from there.
Yeah, because I'm reading so many of these, and you know, there's like a definite turn or a difference in style between each of these. Like the biggest one to me, which is like absolutely throwing down the gauntlet, was he is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries, and like that one's got a lot of. I mean, they even worked in perfidy.
Perfidy?
Perfidy, Brian.
Where's it at again?
I don't even know what that word means. It's he is at this time transporting large armies, and then
complete is spelled differently.
Oh yeah,
yeah. That's
the works of death, dissolution, and tyranny.
Yeah,
already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy.
Yeah, death, dissolution, and tyranny would be a great name for a punk band.
Yeah,
yeah, perfidy. Oh no, yeah. I mean, it's
so like there's this
the
like somebody clearly aced their SATs here, and then we get into.
I mean, there's just a love of language in this document.
Oh yeah,
and then you throw in the word savages.
Well, right, and that's kind of what I mean. Like, there's definitely like I don't know a change in tone, or
Well, this is also another thing that I feel the Boston Tea Party. They dressed up as Native Americans.
Right.
Why?
Yeah.
I mean, are you actually going to do this or not? I mean, were Native Americans working the boats, and so they wanted to get in there and so nobody would think that anything was going on, or was it that they wanted to blame somebody else for what they did?
I think this is kind of where we get into the duality of the American experience of sorts, and you can kind of see it throughout the document. Where they first talk about slavery, and then we talked about slavery. Obviously, many slave owners were horribly cruel.
Yeah.
There's a museum in Baltimore on it, which is just absolutely tragic. It's heavy.
Yeah.
Absolutely recommend people go see it. The same way I would recommend going to the Holocaust Museum.
Yeah.
But you be prepared, regardless.
Yes, especially the Holocaust Museum with that the train car.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. You just feel it.
Oh yeah.
You feel it.
Yeah. And but there's a clear duality, where they talk about the rights of all men. But then, and then we get here and we're talking about the Boston Tea Party, and like there were a lot of people who idealized, and I don't know if respected is exactly the word I'm thinking of, but they just had this kind of like idyllic notion of what it meant to be an Indian brave, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously there were a lot of people who did not hold that view, and I think we see that here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
My turn or your turn?
Let's see here. I think it's my turn. You said Indian to savages.
Yeah.
All right, we're to the final page. In every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be ruler of a free people.
Nor have we been wanting in attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of their emigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity. And we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably interrupt our connections and correspondence. They too have been deaf to the voice of justice and of
consanguinity.
Consanguinity. Yeah.
Wow.
We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation, and hold them, as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies in war, in peace, friends.
You want to dig on that or not?
I think I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the declaration of war at this point.
Yes.
We're into it.
Yep. All right, Brian, take it home.
Yeah, I'll take it home. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America and General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do, in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies, solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are, and of right, ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved, and that as free and independent states, they have full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other acts and things which independent states may of right do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the protection of divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortune, and our sacred honor.
Boom. Mic drop.
Mic drop. So we pulled this version off of the National Archives, and I'm going to go ahead and read the signatories. Yeah, we should definitely read the signatories. You'll notice Massachusetts is named twice in here, and you can blame one John Hancock for that. And when it comes to John Hancock, I would like to read his name, please.
Okay.
All right. So Georgia, Button Gwinnett, Lemon Hall, maybe that's Lyman Hall, George Walton.
Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Paca, Thomas Stone.
Oh, hang on. We got to put these together. Hang on a second. Just so when we get to New York, and when we get to North Carolina, we know what's going on. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Maryland, Samuel Chase, William Paca, Thomas Stone, Charles Carroll of Carrollton.
I think that's Carroll County.
Yeah.
That's probably the Carroll County guy.
Yep.
Delaware, Caesar Rodney, George Reed, Thomas McCain, and that's McKean.
Massachusetts, Samuel Adams, John Adams, Robert Treat Payne, Elbridge Gary.
Do you know how disappointed I was when I found out that Samuel Adams Brewery started in the 20th century? And that this wasn't, that Samuel Adams, even though he was a brewer, it doesn't go back that far.
No, it doesn't.
I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Yingling remains.
I'm kind of surprised you didn't know that.
Yeah.
Although,
I should have known that.
Yeah.
But I should have known that, but yeah. I was like thinking it was like the oldest brewery, but that still
Yeah.
belongs to Yingling, which is
Yep.
like still my go-to beer.
Yeah. Oh, it's a solid go-to.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Did you read Massachusetts or did
Yeah,
I?
I just read Massachusetts.
Okay.
Well, I read the first Massachusetts.
Okay.
All right.
North Carolina. William Hooper. Joseph Hughes. John Penn.
Virginia, George Wythe, Richard Henry Lee, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Harrison, Thomas Nelson Jr., Francis Lightfoot Lee, Carter Braxton.
New York. William Floyd. Philip Livingston. Francis Lewis. Lewis Morris.
Rhode Island, Stephen Hopkins, William Ellery.
South Carolina. Edward Rutledge. Thomas Hayward Jr. Thomas Lynch Jr. Arthur Middleton.
New Jersey, Richard Stockton, John Witherspoon, Francis Hopkinson, John Hart, Abraham Clark.
I'm just going to go ahead and skip Connecticut so I can do Massachusetts.
Yep, all right.
John Hancock.
Coming to bat, the lefty from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I mean, I had to
I don't know if
I had
it
to
was
say it
left-handed.
like his name
Yep.
was signed.
Yeah,
You know, it's the biggest name on
the
here.
biggest one. Connecticut, Roger Sherman, Samuel Huntington, William Williams, Oliver Walcott.
Pennsylvania. Robert Morris. Benjamin Rush. Benjamin Franklin. John Morton. George Clymer. James Smith. George Taylor. James Wilson. George Ross.
Oh, there's 2 New Hampshires.
There is 2 New Hampshires.
All right, New Hampshire, the first. Josiah Bartlett, William Whipple.
That's a heck of a name.
William Whipple. William Whipple.
Did he invent Whipple Ball?
Yeah,
sorry.
but it failed.
But it failed.
The wiffle ball
Caught on.
caught on. Yeah.
Yes. And the final signatory from New Hampshire as well, Matthew Thornton. So what jumps out at me,
Mhm.
we all know John Hancock. We all know Benjamin Franklin.
Thomas Jefferson. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually, yeah, Thomas Jefferson. We all know Thomas Jefferson. And Marylanders in Westminster might know Charles Carroll of Carrollton. But the rest of these names, I mean, these are the founding fathers. These are the true founding fathers.
Mhm.
These are nobodies in our history. They are lost to history.
A lot of them, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you can still find information,
Yeah.
but yeah, they're not really taught much. They've kind of, yeah.
What happened to most of the people who signed? Were they, I mean, I
I've
would love to
often
know.
wondered that because it was said it must, as they were drafting the was it the Declaration, I guess?
Mhm.
It must all hang together, or surely they will all hang. Right?
Yeah.
There was a kind of understanding that these people were forfeiting their lives, potentially, by signing this document. And John Hancock, somewhat in defiance and a demonstration of bravery, wanted to make sure King George
Mhm.
would be able to read his signature so he would know who had defied him.
Yeah.
As blatantly and in your face as possible. So I do wonder, like, were any of these people assassinated? Were any of these people tried and convicted of crimes
Yeah. I mean,
against the
because,
crown?
I mean, what happened to them is not really taught in high school history. At least
Right.
It wasn't.
Is this what you're looking up now?
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking up right now. I mean, and a lot of the links I'm seeing are
dealing with, I'll go with dollars because that's national, but a lot of them are local. So they're talking about what happened to their local signers.
Right.
But I would love to see what happened, if they were captured by troops, all these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's something that's really going to pop up
right here
that very easily.
Hold on a second.
Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Should I pause it?
Yeah, pause it.
All right.
I've had so much water, I gotta go pee. And I figured you would want time to look it up.
All right, so I found it, Julius.
Okay.
5 signers were caught by the British as traitors and tortured before they died.
Ooh.
12 had their homes ransacked and burned. 2 lost their sons in the Revolutionary Army, and another had 2 sons captured. 9 of the 56 fought and died from wounds or hardships of the Revolutionary War. So, they paid the price.
Yes, they did. I had kind of assumed, but yeah, no, I wasn't aware.
Yeah. Yeah, so what are your overall thoughts?
To be honest, I don't know. I like it's honestly going to take me some more time to like really formalize it. I think this was an important document for them to publish, to let the world see what was going on, also to rally the people in these separate colonies, because there were internal fights and struggles. You mentioned one of them between Pennsylvania and Maryland. And I don't like national unity. I really feel like that as a concept is really much more of a modern day thing. And by modern, I mean like within the past century or so, a little bit more than that, maybe. Yeah, I think it was important to kind of bring everyone together. I think it's also interesting to think about the colonies that are not represented here. Like there's no Maine.
Yeah, well, that's because Maine was part of Massachusetts.
Oh, was it? Oh, I think I did know that, actually.
Yep.
You know what?
Yep.
I was on the how the states got their
Florida
shapes.
belonged to Spain.
Yeah.
I think England was at war with Spain then, too, if I remember it, but I'm not 100%.
There's no Vermont.
Yeah.
I know Florida was, did exist at this time, but Florida
that was Spain.
Was right. And I guess those were really all of the main colonies. Right?
Yeah,
obviously there was French still claimed what we now call the Louisiana Territory.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how many like people actually. I mean, obviously there were people that lived there, but I'm not sure how many colonies existed in that territory.
See, I think once we won the revolution, I believe we had everything to the Mississippi politically.
Okay. Once the Revolutionary War
was won. Yeah, so
I mean, there's no Ohio here.
I think that was 1787, right?
Yeah.
So the war would go on for another 9 years.
Yeah. I mean, there's no Ohio here, though. There's no.
Yeah, because the frontier at the time was, the Appalachian Mountains.
Right.
I mean, I'm not even sure if Pittsburgh was founded yet at this point. I mean, I know Fort Pitt was around. That might have become Pittsburgh at one point.
Yeah.
But that was where General Braddock died during the French and Indian War.
Yeah.
And as a Marylander, I always thought he died on Braddock Mountain outside Frederick. But no, the mountain's just named after him. But yeah, and that's where George Washington got a lot of his experience.
Right. Surveying.
Yeah, and like in war was during the French and Indian War.
Right.
So underneath Braddock, I think is a.
Sorry.
Was he a lieutenant under Braddock? I think, or a colonel or something.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But nonetheless, it's amazing for me how many people I just do not recognize as founding fathers when they were definitely founding fathers.
Yeah.
We always think of Hamilton as a founding father. We think of the people who put together the Constitution as the founding fathers, not the signers of the Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
And
obviously it is the signing that we consider. I think a lot of people also miss that. The Declaration of Independence is really what we're celebrating on Independence Day as the founding of our country. It's not the signing of the Constitution.
But is it? What is a country? I mean, is the country really beginning with the Constitution of the United States, or does the country begin with the Declaration of Independence? Because we were underneath the Articles of Confederation then, but nobody gives a flying rat's ass about John Hanson anymore. He was the closest thing to an executive underneath the Articles of Confederation.
You're so very proud of that fact.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
As a Frederick native.
But I mean, we don't celebrate that. So why don't we celebrate that? Because it's actually the Constitution is what makes our country our country.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's in the word, right? It's in the name. Yeah. The Constitution. It is the thing that constitutes us into a government.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when a Constitution gets abolished and a new government forms, I would say that's when a new country forms.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, just out of curiosity, if you're making that argument, when we left the Articles of Confederation behind and transitioned to the Constitution, do you count that as us? As
I count it as becoming a new country. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's like, is an 8-year-old a man? I feel like the Constitution, we kind of grew up.
Okay. I think I would take that view personally. That adopting a new document, a new founding, founding. I call it I'm going to say founding document. I don't mean founding in the sense of founding a new country, but founding a new government.
Yeah.
I would maybe draw that distinction that it's a.
Well, I feel for me, the change of government happens through elections. I still hold the document. The Constitution is like the definition of the country.
Okay.
I mean, and it's interesting. I've always felt weird about like the pledge to the flag. The flag changes. With every new state, the flag changes,
Sure.
So when you're pledging to the flag, you're pledging to an object. But when you're pledging to the nation, you're pledging, to the ideas and the nation. It's a mixture of nationalism and patriotism. But you're looking something up.
Yeah, for some reason...
Your wheels are turning. There's a smoke stain above the ceiling.
Yeah. No, I know this has changed somewhat. I know, like, One Nation Under God was added.
Yeah.
I'm going to get this totally wrong. I feel like this whole episode is just exposing me as a horrible...
Well, it's exposing both of us, really.
Yeah. But I'm wondering if that first line, too, I think it maybe originally or at one point it wasn't I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. It was I pledge allegiance to the flag and the United States of America. Maybe I'm totally wrong about that.
Let's see here. I'm bringing up the wiki article.
I have always wondered why would I pledging allegiance to the flag? Right?
I'd rather just pledge my allegiance to the country.
Yeah.
I mean, the Pledge of Allegiance in its current form has us do both.
Is I guess the flag is meant to be a symbol of the United States, right? So if I'm trying to understand this.
Yeah, Daughters of American Revolution magazine in 1906 came up with the first pledge.
Yeah, 1906. Yeah.
So really it's kind of a moot argument. In the Revolutionary War, you had people dying for their country without a pledge to the flag. At least that I know of.
Right. They were dying as people do in all wars for the person next to them, for their community, for their loved ones. Yeah.
Yeah. Under God was added in 48 or 51? Yeah, so I'd much rather say I pledge allegiance to the United States of America.
Yeah.
I could just drop add to the Republic. Drop from which it stands, that refers to the flag. One nation, under God, wasn't in there early on. It's more inclusive without it. With liberty and justice for all.
You missed indivisible.
Oh, indivisible. Yes, indivisible with liberty and justice for all. And yeah, I think the pledge could definitely be simplified. But once again, I mean, it didn't come out till
1906, I think you said.
1906.
Yeah.
I mean, there are earlier pledges.
Oh, there are earlier
pledges? Yeah, there are earlier pledges, but there's the Francis Bellamy pledge. There's the Balch pledge, and that's like from 1887.
Yeah.
Yeah, students cannot be compelled to recite the pledge.
Right.
That was actually one thing I noticed in high school. Once I entered high school, I mean, in elementary school, every kid says the pledge, right?
Right.
In middle school, pretty much still, for the most part.
Yeah.
You hit high school, and for me, people stopped saying the pledge. They just stood. But first Gulf War, the day the bombing started, I noticed, I started looking around in my class. I think it was Mr. Haskins' history class. It's my first period class. Because everybody was saying the pledge.
Huh.
And it was like it was one of the first light bulbs that went off in my head about how world events affect public opinion and can motivate people to change what they do in just everyday life.
Right.
And so, I think it was January 16th or whatnot was the day the bombs started falling, when Desert Shield became Desert Storm, and I saw that change in everybody there. It's like, you didn't say the pledge 2 weeks ago. And of course, everybody was like, yeah, I did. I didn't. You just stood there like everybody else. It was a silent classroom. But things change, once the country goes to war. So,
yeah,
when there is a risk and there's sacrifice, because at that point in time, we were taking on the fourth largest army in the world. We were all potentially draft age. We're going into the Persian Gulf War. And when there's the personal risk there, I could see why people would start saying the pledge, because with that personal risk, I'm going to stand up for this country.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is interesting. Like,
This is a perspective, because you're younger than me, that you didn't really get.
Well, I'm also younger than you by just enough.
To where you missed that.
To that feeling was lost to me.
Yeah, I remember, it's 1991. I'm 1990. Yeah, I'm like 10th grade, and I'm sitting with my friends saying, yeah, we're going to be freaking drafted in this war. Little did we know that the ground war would last 100 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. They were the fourth largest army.
They were. I remember a political cartoon saying, kind of like a welcome to Pennsylvania sign, home of whatever. And so they said, welcome to Iraq, home of the 4th, and then X 5th, X 6th, X 7th, X 8th army of the largest army of the world, during that time. It was just like amazing.
Huh. Interesting.
But yeah, I mean, we were there was a definite sense of dread during that time, with my class leading into it, and then it was like nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
nothing.
That's my recollection of that war. It was like a blip.
It was, but the lead up to it, where the press was like, "Yeah, we're sending troops to Saudi Arabia, and we're really worried that Iraq will invade Saudi Arabia before they can dig in."
I do remember that. Yeah,
you know. There are just like little things like the Battle of Khafji that people forget about now, where Iraq actually did go into Saudi Arabia, and it wound up, much like how Russia went into try to take Kyiv in a column line. That's how Iraq went into Khafji. Right. It was just like, okay, this is perfect for bombing.
Yep.
We know our flight path for the bombing run.
Right.
Because you're in a line.
Yeah.
So
thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for making it easy on us.
Right.
But
what is your takeaway?
What is my takeaway?
From the Declaration.
Okay, so my takeaway actually deals with the question I was going to ask you. Is it relevant for today? And I was expecting it to be referring to a whole bunch of historical events that do not have many parallels. And I was, especially when it comes to immigration, I was really surprised how much I feel connected to. Especially, the part about sending people far away for trials and trumped up charges, so that way they don't have representation like they're doing now with immigrants in Louisiana. I was not expecting to remember, one of the reasons why Iraq, told us to
stand down our forces and get most of them out with the status of forces agreement was because of prosecution.
Mhm.
That was in the Declaration of Independence.
Right.
So if anything, I feel in some ways we've lost our way. I'll put it that way. I feel like that's the most apolitical way I can put it. I think we've lost our way as our country. And we need to get back to the moral base that was, as much as I hate saying, pointing to the moral base, but to the moral base of grievances that were expressed in the Declaration of Independence.
I could kind of get behind that, actually. I was kind of thinking as we were reading this that, and draw the parallels and comparisons to modern day politics, that people listening to this might think this, us reading the Declaration of Independence and then drawing those parallels is some kind of call to arms. Because that's essentially what this is. And just to be clear, we are absolutely not doing that. But I can get behind what you're saying, that the people who drafted this and wrote it were principled people. They weren't going to engage in whataboutisms.
Yeah, 100%.
And the tit for tat and spite.
Yeah.
And, they had very legitimate principles upon which they stood, and they were willing to die for that. Right? And I can get behind that we've kind of lost our way in that sense. I feel like I've had so many of the conversation, many years ago. This was before Trump won.
Mm-hmm.
Not when Trump won, but
Trump's
first
term.
Yeah, his first term. And a lot of people were like, as the Republican Party was working through the primaries, there were a lot of people that said, in the later primaries, they're like, oh, well, it's clear Trump is going to win. I'm just going to vote for Trump. It's like, you're not for Trump. Like, you prefer a different candidate. Stand on your principles.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so I feel like that's kind of, to me, it's indicative of the kind of decline where it's about winning and not about standing for something.
Yeah. Let's see here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to add. Let me say this first.
Yeah.
So I was also struck by how the first part of the document is basically a son addressing his father, saying, "I'm more than you know. I am more. I am
interesting
not
perspective.
who you think I am."
Yeah.
So it starts right off mentioning themselves as states and not as colonies. They go back on that later on, but first and foremost, like when they're at the end, they're saying, we colonies declare ourselves independent. Where at the beginning of the document, were already referring themselves as states.
Right.
So it starts off saying, about identity. And then it goes, here's why we're going to kick your ass. And then it ends with, we are going to kick your ass.
Right.
Especially with that last paragraph that I got to read, I was trying to inflect some passion into that because I felt like it was becoming definitely a hostile article at that time. And so I wanted to inflect the hostility into it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So as a kind of tangent, and this will probably be the last thing I bring up, but when we were talking about the Iraq War, and do you feel like, Iraq is still, as a country, the country itself is very old, but this form of government for them is still very new.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the reason they've kind of struggled and floundered a little bit is because they didn't have this kind of rallying cry?
Well, it didn't necessarily come from them, no. So the people of Iraq did not have the chance to be able to write their own Declaration of Independence.
Right.
Saddam Hussein was a very, very oppressive regime. His regime was a very, very, very oppressive regime. And cutting out on dissent and things like that really stamped it out. I remember the first betrayal where, Persian Gulf War, after the ground war is done, we told the people of Iraq now's a good time to rise up. And then we didn't provide them any air cover or anything like that.
Right.
And so the net result of that was Saddam was able to solidify his rule even more, which causes a lot of resentment with the Shiite community to this day.
Yeah.
They remember that pain. They remember all the people they lost when Herbert Walker said rise up. And truth be told, I'm sure it affects our relations with Iran, because that's a Shiite nation. And the Shiite areas of Iraq and Iran have a lot of shared history. So I went off the rail again at the 2-hour mark here. I totally forgot where I was going to go with that. But I really feel that.
I mean, I feel like you can make the same kind of argument for countries after the fall of the Soviet Union, right?
Yeah. And I also find it interesting that with Iraq and with Afghanistan, we did not set up a bicameral house.
Yeah.
We set up a parliamentarian
Yes.
form of government that's a lot more stable, which makes you wonder about our form of government and where
Right.
we are today.
This is actually now like
That could be a whole episode right there just on that.
This is like 20 years separated from. I used to have a very good and close friend. He was an historian, and he and I had almost this exact same conversation. That it's quite interesting that in all our history, as we've toppled various regimes, we've always set up parliamentary governments and not bicameral body with a strong executive.
I don't know if it's because they're easier to influence or if it's because they're more stable and we don't want to go back.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, to be honest,
idea.
are they really easier to influence?
I don't know. I mean, it goes back to the question: how many representatives per person?
I mean, there's
how many persons per rep?
Persons per rep, yeah. But there's certainly that, to be sure. But like, there are more than two parties with representation in Parliament in the UK, right? I mean, like there's the I don't know all of them. I know there's like
there's
3.
the Lords and there's the Commons and there's the
there's the not the bodies, but there's like the
not
Tories.
The manly
You. There's the Tories, is it the Liberal Democrats, and I don't know. There's like a third like major party that gets
Labor or whatever.
Yeah, the Labor Party. Yes. So I don't know if I would necessarily say easier to manipulate, like because they're motivated to form a coalition government.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's actually one thing. I mean, completely way off topic, but Israel. I mean, if I remember right, Rabin was Labor. Yitzhak Rabin was Labor.
Okay.
But by the time Benjamin Netanyahu, when he came to power, I mean, if you look at Labor's like completely gone, or at least it was at one point. I haven't looked recently. But like 10, 15 years ago, it was like a very minor party where it was a major party at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I take a look at Israel and what's going on now. When you have one party rule, this is kind of the danger. And I feel like in the United States right now, everybody's trying to get one party rule. But you need opposition. Just like, we've discussed many times in our podcast. You need political diversity amongst your friends. Because part of friendship is holding each other accountable.
Yeah.
If you do not have multiple parties in power, there will be no accountability and government will become tyranny. That's just all there is to it.
Yeah.
You have to have an avenue for differing points of view to gain power from time to time.
Yes.
And you have to be beholden to the concept of loyal opposition, that somebody can disagree with you and still be a patriot.
Right.
They are not anti-America because they are marching against the policy that you support. You're anti-America because you do not recognize the fact that they are marching to try to make America better.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's just the way it is. I would like to say that the Tea Party was a good thing. I would like to say that the protests they're having now are a good thing. We need to have the conversation. We have to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And we can't look down on others just because they have a different opinion.
Right.
And I think that's probably the best thing I have to end on. What about you?
No, yeah, I think I would agree. Yeah, I think it's kind of unfortunate that the two major political parties, Republican and Democrats, have just kind of monopolized this the way we exercise our politics, right? There's so many different factions within this country, and yet they all somehow get vacuumed up into one or the other.
Right.
Yeah, and like we were talking about while we're sitting at the creamery or whatever in Frederick, about how the left is starting to adopt libertarian. Right.
Yeah.
And which is
the
great.
gas and flag snake there. We the people.
Right.
With it. Yeah.
Right. It's great that we're forming these coalitions, but at the same time, it feels like something's kind of lost as they just get sucked into one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you have a leader that brings out so much passion. Is that really a good leader? Brings out so much negative passion. I'll put it that way. Because, I mean, passion can be very good. You can be a leader and bring out positive passions in people and make a positive difference. But when your language is very negative all the time and you're in a position of power, I'm not sure that's good for the country in the long run. And that's before you get to any policy. One of my first criticisms of Trump during his first term, forget the policies, he's a bad manager.
Right.
He's a bad manager. He can't keep a freaking staff.
Right.
He does things by executive order and then waits for the courts or whatnot. He doesn't really deliberate the deal.
Right.
For all the talk about the art of the deal.
Right.
He does not negotiate squat.
Nope. No.
Yeah, I'm kind of concerned. And this is way off topic. This is like, yeah. But yeah, I'll go back to my previous final note, which is concept of loyal opposition. We had our differences, but we still came together. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, they had visceral, I think is the term I'm going for, differences in terms of policy. When the United States adopted the Constitution or whatnot, they found themselves very angry at each other very often. But when it came to the end of life, they were able to come back together because of what they had accomplished together during the Revolution.
Right.
They still recognized loyal opposition at that point. And I think we need to get back to that. We need to get back to loyal opposition.
So I know you were kind of trying to get back to your final thought you said, but the original drafting of the Constitution said the second place winner became the vice president.
Yeah.
Right? So it seemed that this idea of loyal opposition, is kind of like enshrined in our founding document, even though later on it would kind of turn out to be a mess, but yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Tip of the hat to the founding fathers.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I am Brian.
I am Julius.
And we are the Ascended Project. So please, like, comment, share. These this podcast. Let us know what you think. Please let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. You can email me. You can comment on the blog post. This one will be on Spotify. You can comment there or on Apple Podcasts. But we want to hear from you, and we want you to also enjoy and have a safe 4th of July.
Absolutely. Happy 4th.
Yes. So, I didn't buy any whippersnappers to go in here, but
There was a whipper in the episode, though.
There was a whipper in the episode.
Yeah.
Yes, there was. All right. Well, take care, everyone, and you guys have a good holiday.